Odell Beckham going up against Josh Norman, and this was a battle we all anticipating. Arguably the best young corner in the NFL, best young wide receiver. You can see right now how many times they matched up against one another. It wasn't a lot, only over one another on 22 snaps. 4 catches on the 6 targets for Odell Beckham for 30 yards and a touchdown. 3 personal fouls for Odell, 2 personal fouls for Josh Norman. I'll get to all that stuff in a minute in terms of the personal fouls, but went back and watched this game this morning, watched the tape. And you see here, Odell Beckham drops the deep ball early on in the game. And there were a lot of times in this game where Odell Beckham had got on top of coverage. I'm talking about 5 or 6 times. Now, they had the one drop. Several other times the ball didn't find him, or Eli Manning didn't see him. One, he grossly underthrew. But this is a game, when you look statistically, it doesn't look that great for Odell Beckham. But when you study the tape, man, there was a lot of yards left out on that field. He could have had a very, very big day. But the drop passes and Eli not connecting with him, he didn't. Now, Josh Norman, everything underneath, everything breaking back to the quarterback. You saw what makes him great. His instincts, his ball skills, his toughness. He was right in Odell Beckham's hip pocket. Now, the one play he got him on was a touchdown at the end of the game. And you see right here, a little bit of a push-off by Odell Beckham to create some separation down there in the red zone. Kind of faked a drive route. When you get down in that red zone area, a lot of times you see these drive routes where they'll come hard across the middle of the field. And Odell Beckham gave him a little shoulder for that, gave him a little bit of an extension with a push-off and got into the end zone. But man, it was a fun game to watch from a football standpoint, just the football stuff, because Odell had some opportunities, didn't cash them in. I do think you can make a case. Josh Norman did get in his head a little bit in this contest, and that to me was embarrassing. I use the word embarrassing, and I'm not overreacting. I think people think when you watch these games and it's physical and it's supposed to be an aggressive game, they say, okay, don't overreact to some extracurricular stuff. This was after almost every single play that Odell Beckham was either going after Josh Norman. Cortland Finnegan was over a couple times. He went after him. He went after Kirk Coleman. Now, they were getting into him a little bit as well, but this was clearly a situation where Odell was the instigator. I counted 6 punches that he threw in this game. One, the side hit where he hit him on the side of the head, which was as dirty a shot as you'll ever see. And then Josh Norman ended up pushing him on the ground, which I'm surprised he didn't just completely lose his mind and go after him after that one. Then he had the stomp after the touchdown. When we watched it on the tape, you see it from the end zone copy, he clearly stepped on his leg after he scored the touchdown. So 6 punches, one hit to the side of the head that was late, and then 1 stomp. It was way, way out of control for Odell Beckham. And as we're recording this right now, there has not been any suspension announced. I will be surprised if he does not get hit with a suspension for what took place in this game. It's just not good. It's not good. It's not good for the NFL. It's not a good look for him. It's not a good look for the Giants either. If you ask the question, did it get too far? Absolutely. Was Josh Norman, a part of it and did some things he shouldn't have done? Sure. But the lion's share of the blame to me should go to Odell Beckham. TD, I don't know if I'm on an island by thinking that, but when I went back and watched the tape, it was pretty clear-cut to me.
No, definitely. I mean, ODB was doing a little bit too much. He was trying too hard. But I do love the fact that it was such a big event. It lived up to his billing, right? Josh versus Odell Beckham. Like, Josh is a very interesting guy. The way he approaches games is very interesting. Might be more interesting than Sherman was at his peak of his powers. And obviously ODB splash reel for days. So it was fun that it lived up to his billing. A little bit too much nonsense going on. I wish they had respected each other a little bit more, but hey, that's what happened.
Look, some of the great receivers, though, they have that fire. We have one that works at our network, and Michael Irvin, who plays with that aggressiveness and that fire and competitiveness. You see Des Bryant, what he's done for the Dallas Cowboys, Steve Smith, these guys. You have to have some of that fire in you. That's great. You don't want to eliminate that from Odell Beckham, but he's got to get rid of some of this stuff that took place in this game. It was unnecessary. Now, after the game was over, I found it fascinating. I was on NFL Game Day Live as the sound was coming in, as the post-game interviews were coming in, and I thought the language and the words used by Odell Beckham, or the words he didn't use, were pretty fascinating. This first soundbite we're going to play for you here. Listen to the name that he does not mention here.
Like I said, it's unfortunate that I let the opportunity pass, right through my hands. You blow by the defender, and Eli puts it exactly where it needs to be. You couldn't ask for a better ball, couldn't ask for a better play, and I just let the opportunity go.
Yeah, he said the defender. The defender, by the way, is Josh Norman. He's not going to mention who that was, not going to give him any airtime there with his name. I thought that was classic, the way he just referred to him as a defender. So this is definitely something. And Josh Norman's comments after the game, if you haven't seen them, go look those up. You could tell this was definitely personal for him. And then how about this next soundbite here from Odell Beckham? Just pay attention to the language he uses on this soundbite.
Absolutely, they're a great defense. I mean, you got David Senior over there, Luke Kuechly, a great defensive line, just an overall great defense. They know their zones, they play them well, they know their assignments. Like I said, it's unfortunate losing games like that.
So he mentions Luke Kuechly by name. He talks about the defensive line, and then the phrase that he used is they know their zones and they play them well. In other words, he's not matching up with me one-on-one and going at me mano-a-mano. They're playing a lot of zone coverage. And when you watch it on tape, they mix it up only over him, like we saw earlier, 22 snaps. But there were plays after he got beat over the top early in that game where they did give him some safety help. Ironically, Odell split the safety on 2 or 3 occasions, and Eli didn't see him. Could have parlayed that in some big plays. But I thought it was interesting. He wanted to make sure everybody knew this is not a mano-a-mano situation here, and he did that with his verbiage.